Hello and welcome to this latest video. In this video we're going to look at Git, and this is the very basics of Git 101 as the Americans say. Okay, so this is literally, you could say Git for dummies, Git for nulls, whatever your particular one is. We're going to start right at the very beginning and take you from there. Okay, so here we go. If you haven't installed Dropbox, please stop the video, go and install Dropbox. I shall put a link at the top of the video for you. If you have installed Dropbox, you need to come into your file explorer. This one happens to be Nemo. Double click on Dropbox, and in here you need to create a folder. So click on the folder create and type www in lowercase as the folder name. If you don't have this option here, then you can do the same in terminal by typing. Notice that Dropbox has a capital D. Okay, and then mkdir space www, and that will actually create the folder for you. Okay, so in order to use Git, we've got to have a project. We've got to have something to control. We have to have something on our computer that's required. So I'm going to start a new project. I'm going to create a new project folder. So I'll change to the www folder, and then I'm going to create a folder called tutorial, if I can spell. Okay, so there we are. We now have a folder called tutorial inside the www folder, and I will be doing most of my work on here. Okay, so the next thing, we need to change to that directory, and so as you can see, we're now in the tutorial folder. What I'll do is I'll double click on that, and I'll double click on that, and then I'll put it up in the corner. Okay, and what I'll also do is I'll turn on the hidden files for now. As you can see, it's totally empty. Okay, I'll bring this down just a little bit to here so we can see what's happening. Okay, so we're on our computer, we're about to start a project, we've got absolutely nothing in that project, and we've put it in Dropbox. Why have we put it in Dropbox? Well, quite simply, it's now automatically synced up to Dropbox on the web. So if our computer was to fail now, we've got a copy of it. It's already there. If you click on the Dropbox icon, you'll see it's up to date. Everything has been synced. Okay, so we have an automatic backup of our project as we save. Now that's the most important thing. As we save, provided we've got an internet connection, we've got an automatic backup of our project. We're not going to lose data. And that also means we're going to automatically back up our Git, our local Git repository, the repository on our computer. Now, each project will have its own repository in its project directory. Okay, so that's how Git works. Each project has its own repository. So the first thing we now need to do, we've got an empty project folder, there's absolutely nothing in it, and the first thing we need to do is initialize Git for this project. And it's very, very simple. We type in git and then init. Note we are actually in the tutorial folder, the tutorial directory. Okay, so having typed in git init, you press enter. It takes a moment, and all of a sudden you have a hidden folder inside your project folder, and it has a number of different items in there. You don't have to do anything at all in this folder. There's nothing actually required in this folder. Okay, so we'll go back into tutorial. Okay, so that's Git set up and ready to go, but we've got nothing in here for it to work on. So let's put a file in there. Let's create a file, and at the moment I'm not going to use an editor just yet. Okay, we now need to create a file because there's nothing actually in this directory for Git to work on. So we'll just do touch, and then we will create a Readme file, because all projects should have some sort of Readme file, because once you finish the project and you come back to it 6 months, a year, 2 years later, you need some information about it, and some of that information will be in the Readme file. So here we go. Okay, we now have a Readme file. There's nothing in the Readme file at the moment, so I'm just going to use an ordinary editor. I'm keeping away from Atom and NetBeans at the moment because I just want to create something very simple. Okay, so I'm using an ordinary editor, and we'll enter just some brief data. Control S, Control Q, and we now have a file with a little bit of data in it. Okay, so first of all, we need the first of our Git commands, okay, which is very important, and this is git status, and this will tell you what Git's status is on your computer. Okay, so it's git space status, press enter, and it gives you some information. So it says we're on the master branch, the main branch. Nothing has been committed yet, but there is one file which is not tracked, and you can see it in red here. It actually gives you the command if you want to commit it, and we will add it in a moment. Okay, and so what we need to do, okay, is actually put this in a staging area. Now what does that mean? Well, Git has an area where you can place your files once you've created them, where they're ready to be committed, but you might be working on other files, for example, and you're not ready to commit all these files yet. So it's called a staging area, a stage. Okay, and the term is you stage your file, and we use the command git add followed by the name of the file. Okay, so we shall do that, git add, and then we can either type in the name of the file. Okay, that's one thing we could do, or if there's a number of files that we need to do, we can actually place a full stop here. Okay, so if you only want to do one file or two files, you can put the file names after git add, follow a space between the two file names. But if you've got a number of files, you can put the full stop. Git add space full stop. That full stop is important. Okay, if we press enter, as you can see, nothing has happened up here. You can't see anything, and you can see the command was successful because there's no error message. So let's go back to git status and see what the status is now. Okay, so again, we're on branch master. We've not committed anything yet, but we've got a new file in the staging area. So this file is ready to be committed, okay, to the storage system, and it's ready to be committed to version control. Now this stays on your computer. We're not putting it anywhere else. It's only on your computer. It's not going to the internet. It's staying in a folder in Git, but you won't be able to find it very easily. Okay, so how do we commit? Okay, well, it hasn't actually given us the command here. What it does actually say is if we don't want to commit it, we have a command git rm space -- cached and then the name of the file. If you do that, it will remove it from the staging area. So let's just do that. Oops. Git rm space -- cache, and it's readme.md. Okay, so we press enter. Okay, now what this has done is you can see the file is still here, and that's what cache does. It means it only comes out of the staging area. It is not deleted from your project directory. If you forget the cache, it deletes it from the project directory. To prove it, we'll just do a refresh. You can see that it's still there. So if we do status now, you'll see that we're back to readme in red, which means it is not staged. It hasn't been added. Okay, so whoops, sorry. So we need to add that back in. So we'll, as it is actually something I want to do. So, okay, and we'll go back to status so you can see it's now in green. So, now we want to commit. And how do we do that? Well, it's very easy. It's git commit, okay, followed by a space -m, and then inside inverted commas you give a message. Now every commit should have a message. If you forget the message, Git will actually ask you for a message, which is something we'll look at in a moment. But just for here, because it's the first one, what you usually do is you type in initial commit, and this tells you that this was the first commit of the project. So no other commit will have the name initial commit. It's the first commit of the project. So press enter, and you can see that the master branch, okay, has had one file added. You can see one insertion. Okay, you can remove them if you wish. Okay, it created it. It gave it permissions of 644. Okay, because that was the permission that it has on the file. So if we need to replace readme for any reason, okay, then quite simply it will do so with the same permission. Okay, if we type in git status, now it'll say there's nothing in there to commit, and there's nothing waiting to be committed. So we're on branch master, the master branch, nothing to commit, and the working tree is clean, which is what this section is here, the working tree. And that's all there is to it. If we make a mistake now, we can actually go back to it, and I'll show you how that works. Okay, so first we're going to readme, and I'm going to delete it. So I've clicked on it and I've clicked delete, and am I sure I want to permanently delete it? It's gone. Oh dear, big mistake. We spent hours and hours on that file and it's gone. How do we get it back? Okay, well, it's actually quite easy, because all you need to do is type in git checkout and then the name of the file. Okay, and press enter. And oh, look, magic! It's back. Exactly as it was, and if I double click on it to open it, you'll see it even contains the text. Okay, so that's the magic of version control and working with Git on your computer. We have it. We haven't lost it, and even if we've done many other commits, at some point in the future we can come back and we can still, if we've deleted the readme, we can still get it back, even multiple commits into the future. Okay, so there are a number of other commands that we will use with Git, but the most important ones, okay, on your computer, so this is just on your computer, you're not sharing it with anybody else, it's not distributed anywhere else, it's just on your computer. The important commands are git add and the file name, and git commit with a message. Okay, now you can add and commit at the same time, but this isn't recommended, because if you then want to uncommit for some reason, it takes a lot more work. So I would recommend at the moment you always use the git add, okay, and then when you're ready to commit, you use the git commit under message. Okay, so let's change this file. Okay, so we'll come down, we'll put 3 of those, and we'll put in tutorial and 1, 2, 3. And as you can see, it's in green, and this tells the system that it's a heading. Okay, so we'll save that and we'll close it. So as you can see, the file has changed. So let's have a look. So git status. Now look at that. It knows that the file has changed and that we need to stage it. Okay, now remember the git checkout. If we want to lose these changes, we can use the git checkout as you saw before, and it'll bring back the old file. But we don't want to lose these changes, we want to continue. So we do git add and then on the file name, okay, and git status, and as you can see, it's now in green, so it's in the staging area. It has been staged. And so if we do git commit and press enter, oh, now this is a bit different. It's looking for a message. This is because I didn't put the message tag in and I didn't give it a message. So we'll give it a message. Okay, now always make sure that the project message is good and that it's useful. Okay, now one of the problems that you have if you forget the message is you actually get, oops, excuse me for that, you get this editor, and to write out to save the file, it's a Control and O, and it asks you if you want to commit to do the message, so you press enter, and now you need to exit as well. So that's okay, Control and X, as you can see here. Okay, so Control and X, and as you can see, it's given us the message, and we've got the file is changed, and there's 2 insertions because it actually added the message as well. So if we go to status, as you can see, there's nothing there, there's nothing to commit. Okay, so that's how you use Git on your system. So it's not distributed, it's only on your system, and it's keeping your version under control. You can go back at any time. Now, I've deliberately used the terminal because there will be times when you will have to use the terminal for Git. But when we use NetBeans, for example, or Atom, it actually has its own, NetBeans actually has menu commands, and it's just a click and away you go. It's very, very easy. In NetBeans, Atom is similar, but we do need to actually do a little bit of typing in Atom. Okay, so that's Git 101. Very easy. The commands are git init when you actually want to start the project, and this will create a hidden Git file. And we'll just click on that, and as you can see, it's disappeared. Okay, to add a file to the staging area, it's git add and then the name of the file, or git add space and a period, a full stop. Okay, which will add multiple files. Okay, if you've made an error and you shouldn't have added it to the staging area, you can use git checkout and the file name. Okay, notice there's 2 hyphens here. Okay, right, and that will remove it from the staging area. Okay, if for some reason you've deleted the file from your project directory and you want to put it back, it's git checkout and then the name of the file without the hyphens. Okay, and it will put it back in for you. It'll recreate your file for you. And remember that git status will always give you the status of Git at any time. Okay, I hope you found that useful. Please don't forget to like and subscribe. My name's John, and I'll see you next time.